Hello,
Hello.
welcome back to the channel. My name's Alexis.
And I'm Jen.
And we are That's Flipping Retro.
We buy stuff, we sell stuff, we eat pot noodles.
Yes, so recently we have had a few issues with Vinted. There you go. Straight off the bat, that is what this video is going to be about.
So rather than moaning about eBay, we're giving them a day off and we're moaning about Vinted.
Yeah, pretty much. So the realistically, we have looked for answers on other channels and stuff like that to this, and on Reddit and all the usual places that you might go looking for answers to stuff. And it just seems like every suggestion that we have tried so far doesn't really seem to cut the mustard with Vinted or Mango Pay, which is the payment provider of their choice.
Yes, so what the actual issue is, first of all. Sales on Vinted have been fantastic. We're accumulating quite a large amount in our Vinted balance. However,
so when we first set ourselves up as a business, what we did was we went onto Vinted, put in all the information that they needed, and then eventually, obviously, we had to submit documents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everything seemed to be hunky-dory at the time. Now, I can't recall exactly what documents we provided. However, everything seemed to be fine, but then it was about 2 weeks ago, was it? Or
Yeah,
3?
2.
Something like that. So it was a couple of weeks ago now that we got another message from Vinted, and it basically said you need to verify your business. So it was like, okay, well, we've already done this, but obviously we've reached a payment threshold with them, so fine, okay, we'll do it all over again. You know, because obviously, you know, giving them documents to say that you are a UK taxpayer and you are allowed to work as a business isn't enough. So what we did was we submitted for this a partnership document. And it was, I think, my ID, because I'm the named person, you know, for the business, and the partnership document, it immediately got rejected.
Yeah.
And essentially, so on and so forth. There were so many times they sent the same email that we need this document, we need these things from you, you need to send them. There I was, you know, resubmitting the partnership UTR, that was getting rejected, and then it was coming back to us, you need to send us this. Okay, I was resubmitting it and then putting in the ID again, that was getting rejected. So immediately I was like, this isn't any good, is it?
No.
Because we've got this money that's in the pot of, you know, in the Vinted business account that is accumulating, and we need to withdraw the money. So what do? So I went and had a little search on the internet, as you do, you know, in this day and age where you can. And so basically there was all sorts of information about it. And I think what muddies the waters is that some people are a sole trader. So they work on their own and they just have their own UTR code and their own ID.
Yeah.
But then you get like like as a partnership, where obviously I'm going to have my own UTR code for personal tax, you're going to have yours. We're then going to have a partnership UTR code, which links the two together to a business name. And then you have on top of that, you know, I have my own personal ID, you have your own ID. But we can't submit all of this at the same time to Vinted because they only allow for 2 documents to be sent to them when they ask for verification. So it was really vague, though, the sorts of information you got for partnerships. And all I could find, there was a Ricky Resales video he did something like 8 months ago now, where he was saying about try sending, you know, basically somebody in his comments, I think, had said, try going on the HMRC self-service kind of tax thing on your account and downloading from there your most recent UTR letter, and then what you can do is submit that and it will be the most recent one. So, okay, did that, didn't make a bloody difference. And then there was something I think he said about, which was somebody had suggested to him send an email. I was like, okay, I'll send an email. So it was a template on the video, copied and pasted, you know, put in, there were sections which I could fill in specifically for our circumstances and our business name and stuff, which I did. And then I emailed it not just to the legal team at Vinted, but also to Mango Pay. Now, the Vinted team, or the legal team at Vinted, they basically are still to get back to us. However, Mango Pay got back to us, I think, pretty much the next day. And they said, well, the reason why this verification isn't going through is because your account is under sole trade. It should be under partnership. It's like, okay, well, there's no section for partnership.
No.
How do you go about that? What are you meant to do? Right, we'll put it as a business. Put it as that. Okay, well, I'll change it. That's fine. So how do I change it? Well, you can't do that yourself. So I had to we approached Vinted.
Yeah.
And basically said to them, can we change it from sole trader to business, because it's not clear what partnership goes under, but can we just change it over? And they said, yeah, fine, that's absolutely fine. Can we have your UTR code, please, for the partnership? Sent that. So then they needed, I think, another document. They needed the actual partnership letter from HMRC, sent them that. But if you send via the verification thing, you can't send it as a PDF.
No.
You can send it as a PDF if you go via by the messages. If you go by the verification, you can send it as a PDF, but you can't if you send it via messaging. You can only send images, really, so it's a JPEG that you need. So I had to convert the PDF into JPEGs, which I then had to send through to them. So it was all faff, right? It's just a bit of a faff. But not a massive faff. It was fine, right? So it all got sent. And then they came back with something like, we need your articles of association.
No, first of all, they sent back, can we have your UTR code, please?
Oh, yeah. They wanted the UTR code, which they'd already been sent about 1 million times, and they had 1 million documents with it on. But no, they need the UTR code again. Okay, UTR code. Copy, paste, send. There we are. You can have it. So then it was the scenario after that. What came after that again? It was
that was the articles of dealings.
Okay, so they said, okay, well, if you're a partnership, you need to send us your articles of association. Now, if you know anything about this stuff, that is something you register with Companies House. But the thing is, on there, they don't specify what articles of association they want, right? They only say articles of association. So there have been people, I think it was ABL Reselling did a video, and he was saying some way that he'd done it with articles of association, as Vinted call it. So he'd gone on his Companies House record there, and he'd got the right document and sent it. However, we don't have that. We're not registered with Companies House, so we can't do it. So we're in limbo.
Yeah.
Essentially. So if anybody has had this problem, right, please let us know. Please let us know how we are meant to get this one, send stuff and for them to be okay with it. Because we've had Mango Pay saying, well, we're just the payment provider. It's not our problem. Why are you sending us this kind of letter? You have to go to Vinted. Vinted, as you know, their customer service sometimes, well, it just gone round and round and round the houses with this same UTR code and documents that they want to see over and over and over again. However, from changing from a sole trader, right, where you need an ID, I have an ID, fine. And then the UTR code, I have a UTR code, fine, right, submitted those, no, they're not fine, okay. The problem is we're a partnership, so we're in between the two things, right? So we're in between sole trader and we're in between this thing where we need to be registered with Companies House. If you've had the same problem with Vinted and you were in a partnership and you've actually sorted this out, because I know there's loads of you out there who have a pro selling account with Vinted and you have a partnership. There's other YouTube channels. And if any of you are watching, or any of you, if any of you are, in a partnership but you don't have a YouTube channel, right, just suggest a way. Because not only can we try it, but then we can get back to our audience in general to say how easy or hard that method was to do as well. But, if it means a little bit of work for another few days chipping away at Vinted, or even a week or so, I don't care. We just need this to get sorted, really.
At this point, I'm thinking about sending them a litre of blood on my firstborn child, just to see if that'll move things along a bit. What do you reckon?
I think that would work. That would be a foolproof plan. However, without the need to shed blood and give away your children, can you leave in the comments section what you would do in these under these circumstances, because we're at a bit of a loss. And obviously we have asked Vinted over and over again and tried to explain to Vinted over and over again, and they don't really seem to get where we are with this. And a partnership is, how do I put this, a pain in the ass to have for this. We haven't found it a pain in the ass for anything else.
No.
eBay, we were fine being a partnership. You know, HMRC, we're fine being a partnership with them. Yeah. You know, it's just a case of, and Etsy actually as well.
Etsy are really easy.
Yeah, but this has been the first time we've had a problem. However, we're not the only ones, we know this. And there are absolutely loads of Reddit threads, YouTube videos, and all sorts of stuff that you can find that is just simply saying this is a widespread issue. Yeah. Now, we usually, in the main, sing Vinted's praises.
Well, at the moment, the sales on Vinted are outstripping the sales on eBay by about 3 or 4 to 1. Mm. I looked at the breakdown for the month, and we're making a lot more on Vinted than we are on eBay currently. However, we might be making it, but we're not getting the money.
Yeah, that's
all held.
the problem.
I think they've got about £700 or £800 of our money just floating at the moment.
And I know some people would say that's nothing. I had X amount of thousand, but the thing is, when you are working as a small business, you know, it's every penny that can go into your bank account. You'd like to have that go into your bank account, you know. And we know that everything that we are doing is, it's above board. It's fine. We have documents for everything, like, for tax purposes and all this sort of thing. It is just simply a case of getting Vinted to accept something for a partnership. And we don't really know what to do because there's nowhere to record we're a partnership. And trying to get them to see that a partnership has 2 separate UTR codes for our own personal tax, but also that partnership one. So it would be nice if they accepted something at some point, because I don't want us to lose hundreds, and you are at the moment still listing and selling, and we're still sending. So people are still getting things that they've ordered from us, and it's just disappearing into the ether. And at the moment, that's not good enough, really, is it? You know, eBay...
Give us our money.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll send the boys round.
Well, to be fair, if you go and have a look at the template that's on that Ricky Resells video, I mean, that really is quite straightforward about, I will have to escalate this, but they don't seem to give a shit. Absolutely didn't give a shit that we might escalate it or anything like that, you know. And yeah, they just don't seem that bothered about that sort of thing. So I think even if you did say, I will take this, you know, to somebody else, you know, I don't know, they don't.
Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, that's the moan for the week. And hopefully the next video will be a bit more cheery. I mean, we've already talked about this, I think, in previous videos, is that we now do separate stuff as well. So, Jen, you can say what you sell. What you do.
I was going to say books. No, that's not me. Clothes. Basically, mostly clothes now. And if I see the odd thing that, you know, piques my interest, I'll grab that as well. But the majority of it is clothes. And they are selling really well.
Yeah.
I've now opened an Etsy account because I've realised that you can sell vintage clothes on Etsy. Mm-hmm. But I only opened that yesterday. So hopefully that'll start to do well also. But yeah, just trying to have as many avenues for sale as possible. I'm really sad though, because the charity shop I go to locally, my absolute favourite one, is closing in August. So I'm trying to go as much as possible at the moment and stock up on clothes.
Yeah, so yes, and I am sort of chipping away with selling books. I get sort of sales. I get weekly sales. You know what I mean. But yeah, so I'm trying to go for the kind of higher ticket item sales, really, because, well, they are very nice when you see those come through. So at the moment, we're doing separate things, but we're still storing our stuff in the same unit. Now, I also still have a fair amount of Lego in there. I do have regular Bricklink orders, which is nice, and if you sell on Bricklink and you sell at a low level, you know that you get sort of £3 here and there. You know, it's never, unless you have really good stuff or unless you have lots of stuff, it's not like a ton of money. But it's fine. It's just dribs and drabs. It's getting rid of the surplus of what I had left over from sorting out sets, so that's fine. But the thing is, because we store it in the same unit, and you have the previous videos, I think it was like 2 or 3 videos ago, if you want to go and look at that one, because that shows how small the unit is, really.
Yeah, it's quite small.
Yeah, it's about 75 square foot, I think, in there. So it's not like, it's not really tiny. I mean, I have my own personal unit, it's 25 square foot. So put that in perspective, probably I would say a large shed, you know, maybe quite a tall shed. But yeah, so what we are figuring at the moment is, because I would like my own space to work and stuff, is where we have our units is just figuring out some sort of, you know, way of getting my own space there and then moving the stuff in and just having my own little workspace with the books in. And I'm going to take my own book collection there as well, because I have a lot of ones that I want to keep. And then pretty much I think I am going to try and pile down that little storage unit full of my own possessions. And there's some of your stuff as well in there, actually. But going to pile that down to a point where there is so very little I can just chuck it in with the rest of the stuff in that new unit. Yeah. That's the ideal, because I don't want to be keeping on, you know, loads of units here, there and everywhere, I suppose.
No.
But want to do it as reasonably priced as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are using the space that we've got at the moment in a really smart way, but I'm expanding the clothing side, so I've got lots and lots more, and you're looking at expanding the book side, so you're going to need more room. And you're probably going to say, well, why didn't you stay in the office then? But we're doing separate things. It's better to be separate to do those things and then concentrate. And also, you've got things you do outside of the business in regard, like writing and all that kind of thing, that you want your own space to do as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not just about work, it's about kind of having...
Yeah, because where we live is well, the amount of times that we've said that... notification. So the amount of times that we've said about this small flat we live in, it is small. And there are 3 people in a small 2-bed flat. So as you can imagine, space is a bit of a premium. So, you know, now I've expanded my half of the business, it just makes sense to have my own office space. And we also work very differently, which you've seen from previous videos, is that Jen is a bit more like, you know, there's...
Tasmanian devil?
Yeah, there's stuff that's piled up, you know, and stuff like that. But with me, I'm kind of like really organised and methodical about it. So.
Is that Mary Poppins, a place for everything and everything in its place? That's you, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I would like to have somewhere that I can be like that, and so that Jen can keep the unit that we have already and she can be the way she is. And, you know, we're not then, because, you know, sometimes when you say, okay, I've tidied the unit, I go in and it's like there's still stuff on the floor. So for me, it's just a case of like, because your tidy is not my tidy, you know.
I'll never reach your standards clean.
So I really do, I think, just want just a little area that I can go in, that I can have a few bits and pieces of my own in there as well. And
sanctuary, that's the word, isn't it?
Yeah, because when we had a house before we had this flat, and basically I had like a little room in there that I used to go in, and it had my books in it and all that sort of stuff.
I just had visions of you having a little cupboard that you go in and scream and then open the door again.
Well, to be honest with you, that little room I had was under the stairs. So yeah, it was a Harry Potter. Well, it wasn't a Harry Potter cupboard, but you know, it was a nice office. But obviously, we had to leave and move into a little flat anyway. But yeah, so yeah, it's just wanting.
So if anyone wants to start a GoFundMe to buy us a house, that'd be marvellous. So we are off again next week for a few days. Alexis is taking me off to the seaside, which is very, very nice.
Yes.
We can have a few days of relaxation and, you know, us charity shopping.
Yeah, because what we'll do is, I think the first day we'll do what you want, second day we'll do what I want, and we will go charity shopping, presumably on your day, because
lots of beach walking.
She love it, didn't she? You know,
she love it.
She love it. So
love it.
Beach walks, fish and chips.
We once went on a beach walk and the tide started coming in.
That wasn't a different beach.
That was a different beach. And we were walking for absolutely miles trying to get to the end of this place to get off the beach before the tide reached us. And we saw this little, we saw this little figure in the distance. And I was like, is that a person or is it a ghost?
No, I said that. I think you're fine.
It's a little old man. And as he got closer, he was actually a real person. And he told us that,
we would have still been walking for miles. We'd have probably been we'd have drowned by now.
We would drown.
But the tide was coming in at such a rapid rate, we were panicking like there was no tomorrow. And when this, because the fog was coming in, as the tide was coming in as well. So this guy appearing out of nowhere, it was like, I hope this isn't a ghost. I really don't. And I hope if it is a ghost, it's a ghost that knows how we get off the beach.
Yeah.
Because, even if we had to follow the apparition, I wouldn't really care.
I think
I'd
we walked
follow it
about
anyway.
10 miles that day easily, didn't we?
Yeah.
We walked all the way to the place. We walked to get Carvery, and then we decided, it'd be nice to go on the beach and just walk that off.
And do you know what happened, right? Because basically we missed the ramp that we should have walked up to get back to the caravan park. So we were walking miles out of our way. And when we walked back, we realised that if we had taken the correct ramp, it would have been 5 minutes from there to get back to the caravan. So, we got our steps in. And walking and running on sand isn't the most easy thing I've ever done, especially when you're panicking that the tide's coming in. But, yes.
It was fun. All good fun, and it's given us a story to tell.
Yes. Yeah.
But that'll be us for today. Nice quick video. Nothing else to add, is there?
I don't think there is, except subscribe if you haven't and you would like to see more of this kind of thing. We've been a bit lax with our uploads, I must admit, recently, but obviously we're getting back to a routine. We will, I think, probably do some recording when we're away, maybe, and just put bits and pieces in. So, we'll pick up the pace again.
Yeah, some more out and abouty stuff, some sourcing.
And especially if I do get my own space, then I will be recording, I should think, stuff about that as well. So yeah. So subscribe. There's some merchandise if you're interested in that kind of thing. There's old videos. Go back and check out playlists and stuff.
You can buy us a coffee.
Yep.
You can buy from any of our millions of stores that are listed in the description.
Yeah. There's
we have got
links
20% off on eBay at the moment. But if you go on Vinted or Etsy or anywhere else, send us a message, tell us you're a subscriber and I'll do you a deal.
Yeah, there's also some money off on Bricklink as well. I believe it's 10% off every item. So if you want to go on Bricklink and get 10% off, the prices are reasonable to start with, to be honest with you. So just go on there and have a look, see if there's anything. It would be nice. And if you can, just send us a message if you do buy anything and say that you went there from this video.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. But apart from that, that is all.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.